Guys, check it out. I got a hat. So yeah, I went to Michigan last week, which is why I didn't post a video on Wednesday, because I didn't have the right equipment to do so. One of the fun things we did was climb up the sand dunes. And besides that, we also went to the beach, hiked, went to a couple restaurants, and we also did some shopping. Now, last week's deep and pressing question is, what is your favorite color? Now, mine, as you probably can guess, is black, because I wear it in every video. This week's question is, what is your favorite movie? And it can be any kind of movie, but like a full-length movie that is a DVD or was in a movie theater. Speaking of movies, while I was at Michigan, we went to go see Inception. Now, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet, but however, now in this movie, Leonardo DiCaprio is a thief. He goes into your dreams and steals your idea. However, in the movie, he is hired to go and implant an idea, which is actually a lot trickier, because for the idea to really work, it has to be like your own. So they have to get it so he kind of thinks of it himself while they're kind of guided into it. Now, in order to do this, he has to hire a small team. Now, this team consists of Leonardo DiCaprio himself, which is the extractor, who normally extracts ideas from people's minds, but in this case he has to implant an idea. It also consists of the forager, who normally summons objects into the dream for use, but in this case he has to replicate people in order to get them to do what they want to do. He also has then the architect, who develops the world of the dream and also develops the labyrinth with paradoxes so the subject's protection won't get to them as quickly. There's also the chemist, who has to develop a sedative to keep them asleep for like 10 hours during the flight, so they can have like 3 layers of dreams. And then besides that, there's also the person who hired them all to make sure that the job gets done, and then the subject to make sure that, well, to implant the idea. How they decide to do this is they decide to make 3 layers of dreams. The first layer, they try to make it seem as real as though the subject has been captured in a van and being implanted into a dream. And then the extractor, Leonardo DiCaprio, ends up convincing him, and then in the second level, that it's a dream, and that the guy, the forager represented, who was a business worker with the subject, is like working against him to try and get him to get the other will for it's an advantage for him. And so they end up going into what he thinks is a second layer of dream, which is actually the third layer of the dream, which is where they essentially get to this snow-top fortress and have to then break in, where he ends up getting the idea to start his own new business in order for the other business to not rival with the guy who hired them. Leonardo DiCaprio's now deceased wife haunts him in his dreams, so if he knows about it, then Mal, is what the character's called, will know about it. So when he ends up finding about it, Mal ends up killing the subject, so then they have to go to this limbo type thing, because the sedative is so strong, to end up rescuing him. So I mean, there's that twist in there, of course, and then he ends up opening the safe type thing and getting the idea, and they all use kicks to get out of there. To get out of limbo, they jump off of a building, and then to get out of the snow-top fortress, the floor collapses with explosives, and then to get out of the hotel room, you use an elevator to kind of give them gravity, because the first kick in the van didn't work, so now they have no gravity due to them free-falling. So now they have to use the elevator to kick them, and then when it sends stop, it'll be like the kick, which then gets into the van, which then hitting the water is their version of the kick. So then they get back to the airplane. Now, amongst this, in the first level of the dream, the guy who hired them all is shot, and that's when you find out that the sedative is so strong that you won't wake up. You'll go into a limbo type thing. So he ends up going into the limbo, and then Leonardo DiCaprio has to stay behind, and after all the guys get out, to kind of get him out of there in order for him to keep the deal. A couple things also about the dream is normally kicks will wake you up from the current dream you're in, and being killed will also wake you up from that dream. Also, the reason Leonardo DiCaprio's character knew Inception was possible is because he accidentally did it to his wife, which makes him indirectly responsible for her killing herself, because she thought she was dreaming. And so, now that she haunts him in his dreams. And because when Mal killed herself, she was kind of losing it, she got Leonardo DiCaprio's character to be framed for her death, so he could just jump down too and be out of the dream. But so now he's framed for the death. That's why he can't go back to the United States to his kids. And this last job is essentially the guy who hired them. He gave them the deal that if he does his job, he'll get Leonardo DiCaprio's name cleared and he can go back to the United States with his kids. Now, each character will have their own totem, which is a device to tell whether or not they're asleep or awake. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio's totem is a top, which if he's dreaming, he'll spin it and it'll just keep spinning indefinitely. However, if he's awake, he'll spin it and it'll just topple. Now that I've ruined essentially the entire movie, I'm going to now ruin the ending. Now, in the end, when he's got back to his house and his kids, he spins the top, and you see it spinning for a while, but he ends up ignoring it to go hug his kids, and then you see it kind of beginning to topple. So, what to get that is he really dreaming, or is he really asleep? Now, unfortunately, the Tumblr isn't here yet, because it will be here within 3 weeks of when I ordered it, which is about 2 days from now, so it will definitely be here by next video. However, so I can show it to you then.